Thank you so much, Ahmed. I really appreciate it. It's going to be a very serious topic, so thought we have a little bit of entertainment. So anyways, thank you everyone for taking time. You being here is already making a statement that you really want your voices to be heard. We just want to keep it pretty brief because we have some guests coming all the way from Yuba City, Sacramento, so keeping in that into consideration, we'll try to kind of really move a little faster. Just want to do a little quick intro about the concept, but before I say that, it just reminds me of 13th century satirist, a mystic, a philosopher named Mullah Nasruddin. He was pretty known for his wit and wisdom, and the people of, he was in Turkey, so his people of his town asked him to just speak something. He said, I have nothing to speak, but people really insisted on and persisted and asked him to come to the pulpit of the mosque and speak. So finally he agreed, and he went, and when he was talking to the crowd, he asked them, so do you know what I'm gonna talk? So everybody said, of course we don't know. And he just stepped down and said, like, I'm not gonna talk to the fools who don't know what I'm gonna talk about. And he just avoided himself talking about it. So the second time they said, like, oh, he's too smart, we're gonna make sure he comes and speaks. And next time when he comes, they prepare an answer for him, and he says the same question, say, do you know what I'm gonna talk about? And everybody said, yes, we do. And on that, he stepped down because, like, there's no need for me, we already know what I'm gonna talk about, right? So on the third time, they persisted and brought him again, and said, like, no, this time we're gonna make him speak. And so as soon they brought him in, and he asked the same question, do you know what I'm gonna talk about? So half of the people said yes, and half of them said no, thinking to confuse him. He said, like, there you go, I don't need to be here. Because the people who said yes can answer the people who don't know. So I'm here, I guess I'm like that here, I don't have much to say. But one thing I want you to know is this event is important. Right now, you are being live streamed across India, Pakistan. There's millions of people watching you right now and hearing us, so you're really making a statement. So this is a big cause, right? And this is just the start. We started this movement just about like 3-4 weeks back, and we already see such a huge traction. And it's amazing, right? How many like-minded people we have. So the concept of Ibaadatkahna, I would probably, I think there's no one better than Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi who can really explain this very well. It's a 13th century philosopher and a mystic. And he quoted it like this, it's in Persian. Chitadbir Musalmanim, Kiman Khudra Nami Danam, Na Tarsa Na Yehudam, Na Gabram Na Musalmanim. Naz Hindam, Naz Chinam, Naz Bulgar Saxinam, Naz Hawk Khurasanam, Naz Mulk Iraqiyam. Makhanam با ملا مقام باشد نشانم بی نشان باشد نه تن باشد نه جان باشد. Well, basically it's a very universal message saying that I'm not from India, I'm not from China, I'm not from Bulgaria, I'm not from Iraq, I'm neither a Christian, I'm not a Hindu, I'm not a Jew, I'm just a human being, right? At the end, the real religion is humanity. Kabir, it's an Indian 13th century philosopher and a mystic. He's also said, Kasturi kundal base, mrik dunde ban mahi, aise hi gati gati ram hai, dunya jane nahi. I don't know how many of you understand, but the same message. So the bottom line is the concept of Ibaadatkahna is based on these principles of universal tolerance, which Mughal Emperor Akbar simply defined as Sulh-e-Kul, right? So I don't want to take steam from Justice Kaju's speech, so I'll let him talk about that. So Justice Kaju himself is going to be talking a bit, and he doesn't need much intro. He has been Chief Justice of multiple courts in India, in Allahabad, Delhi, before he retired from Supreme Court of India. He was also the chairman of Press Council of India, and is very active. He is known for his controversies. He's a very controversial person. So so don't get offended if he says something, he doesn't mean it. He's a very upright, straight person. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I need to go a little back. I may be too loud for the mic. Actually, I really don't need a mic. I can speak loud enough. So our format for the evening, just want to quickly touch you before we get started. We'll first have Justice Katju talk about 15 to 20 minutes and explain the concept of Ibaadatkahna on pressing issues facing Indian subcontinent today. That'll be followed with our very accomplished senior speakers, and I'll talk about them in a minute. There'll be panel. So it'll be divided in two sessions. After Justice Katju's speech, we'll have a panel come in here. We have two journalists, Maryam and Ritu, both representing Pakistan and India. So it's going to be Pakistan-India match. And so we're going to be asking them questions in the first session for 30 to 45 minutes. And the second session will be followed by panelists being asked questions from the audience. So all of you will have an opportunity to ask questions. So that's kind of the format. And we'll wrap it up with a resolution. We're going to pass in Ibaadatkahna. And a few things I want to mention also. In last few, like I said, last 3-4 weeks, it's been just 4 or 5 weeks. We already have huge traction. I see a lot of organizations, nonprofits that are very structured, they got a lot of money, and we came out really with nothing. And it's possible, obviously, with the mentorship and the leadership of Justice Katju, but also some of the key members, I would like, if they're here, like them to stand up. Like to mention Santosh. Where is Santosh? Right here. Santosh, please. Hand. Prabhakaran. Prabhakaran is right busy in the front doing registration somewhere. Prabhakaran, you're here? Please you raise your hand right there. As you can see, everybody's a volunteer. Naren, who's the time card manager here, right here. Ritu, right, sitting next to her. She's a journalist, runs Indica News. And Maryam, sitting right next to her, is a journalist. And also, Attorney Dhaliwal, although he's kind of been missing in action, but he has really been very supportive. I like to really thank him. He's somewhere here. Mr. Dhaliwal, can you stand up somewhere right there? He's waving his hand. Vinod Narayan, he is a media personality, has hundreds of thousands of followers on the social media from Kerala, very supportive. Thank you, Narayan, Vinod. Maya runs a huge non-profit in India, and she's been very supportive right there. Kareem and Shiba, they are from Kashmir. They've been very supportive, been organized, like right there, sitting. They don't want to get up, that's fine. Dr. Imran Rizvi, right here, he has been running all day. And Fauzia, my sister, she's been active, she's somewhere looking pretty. All right, so thank you to everyone, I really appreciate. Finally, a few notes. Number one, don't take anything personal. It's an open debate. Everybody has a right to say whatever they want, so you can agree to disagree, right? That's a very important thing. Let's be respectful of everyone. Two, some of the views of the speakers are not necessarily of our Ibaadatkahna, so they may have their personal views, they may not be in line with our views. And finally, very important thing, I'm going to warn you, if you ever meet Justice Katju, you should be prepared to tell your age, because he's definitely going to tell you, ask your age. So don't get offended, right, if you ask your age. I never met him with any person he didn't ask his age. So just subtract it by 10 years. All right. So with that, I'll ask Justice Katju to come here. Please join me. We'll keep it pretty brief in 5-10 minutes. Yes. And after that, actually, after Justice Katju is going to be done, I'll be basically introducing all the rest of the speakers. Kaj Saab, it's all yours. Here, thank you. Here. No, podium. Oh, you'll have to be, you need to know something. Do you need a chair?
No, I'm fine. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Ibaadatkahna. Today is a red letter day, 8th of December, a red letter day in the history of our subcontinent. Now, some of you may think I'm exaggerating, that this function today is going to affect the history of India, but I would like to explain. But before explaining, I would like to tell you how this concept of Ibaadatkhana came to our core group, Tasawar, others, Ritu, and so on, Santosh. You see, in Dallas, a friend of mine informed me that they are having Eid Diwali Milan on 9th of November. A friend of mine, Shakti, who is a Tamilian living in Dallas, he had telephoned me a long time back in September that they are going to have Eid Diwali Milan. Diwali was on 27th October and Eid ul-Milad ul-Nabi, that is birthday of the Prophet, was on 10th November. So they said, we are going to have a Eid Diwali Milan. So we thought that this is a very good idea. We should have a similar thing in the Bay Area too. But why confine it to just Eid and Diwali? Why confine it to Hindus and Muslims? Why not include Sikhs and Christians, other faiths also? Because Gurpurab, that is the birthday of Guru Nanak, was falling on 12th of November, just 2 days after the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. And Christmas is, as you know, on 25th December, the birthday of Jesus Christ. So why not combine 4 faiths instead of limiting it to 2? So we decided that this is a good idea. Let's have an interfaith harmony function. And the idea, the word Ibaadatkhana, I must tell you how it arose, because some people said, oh, this only represents Muslims, why should Hindus and Christians join Ibaadatkhana? So we explained that, look, the word Ibaadatkhana has a historical context. This Ibaadatkhana, whose picture you see here, this is actually a building, if you go to Fatehpur Sikri, which is the new capital of Emperor Akbar, who shifted his capital from Agra to Fatehpur Sikri in the year 1570. And for 15 years that was the capital when he came back to Agra. And he built this house of worship. It's something unique in the world. It has never happened. Because this was the place where scholars of all religions, Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Parsis, Jains, they would all come to this building. You can, even now if you go to Fatehpur Sikri, which is 30 kilometers west of Agra, you people go to see the Taj Mahal, I would recommend also go and see Fatehpur Sikri. And scholars of all religions would come and debate with each other, point out the good points in their religion in a peaceful, harmonious way. This was in the 1570s. And mind you, at that time, Europeans were massacring each other in the name of religion in the 16th century. Catholics massacring Protestants. If you've been students of European history, you may have heard of Saint Bartholomew Day massacre in France. Oh. Saint Bartholomew Day massacre, where Catholics massacred the Protestants, who were called Huguenots in France in 1572. And similarly, there were massacres in many parts. Massacre means not just men, massacring women, children. There was blood baths in Europe going on in the name of religion. At that time, Emperor Akbar proclaimed his doctrine of Sulh-e-Kul, which means universal toleration of all religions, giving equal respect to all religions. And he even practiced it because he appointed Hindus to the highest posts like Birbal and Todarmal and Mansingh. In fact, that is how the Mughal Empire lasted so long, because it took everybody along with it. So this shows Emperor Akbar was 200 years ahead of his time. And unique, this building, you will not hear of it anywhere in the world where there's a building where people of all religions come together and they talk peacefully, amicably about the good points in their religion. Something unique. And Akbar was a unique. Today, whatever we are today, let me tell you, in the Indian subcontinent, it is because of Emperor Akbar. The foundation which he laid, that you see, it's a country of great diversity. You must give equal respect to everybody. Otherwise, our country cannot survive for one day. There's so much tremendous diversity. So that is why we have named this function the Ibaadatkahna function, and we intend every 8th of December we will have this Ibaadatkahna day, apart from having functions on other days also. Now here I would like to tell you something about India, because I mean many of you are from, I think most of you are from the Indian subcontinent, but how many of you know what is India? I think perhaps none of you know. Now, so let me tell you. See, India is broadly a country of immigrants. It is like North America. In North America, people came mainly from Europe over the last, say, 400 years. In India, they have been coming for thousands of years into India. 93% people living in India today are not the original inhabitants of India. Their ancestors came from abroad, mainly from the northwest. Only 7-8% people living in India today can claim to be the original inhabitants. Even the Dravidians came from outside. Earlier it was thought that Dravidians were the original inhabitants and Aryans came from outside. But now it has been accepted that even the Dravidians came from outside, because there's a language called Brahui in Balochistan, which is a Dravidian language. And these pre-Dravidian tribals are the original inhabitants of India. These tribals called Bhils or Gonds or Santhals or Todas of the Nilgiris, they are just 7-8% of our population. Their ancestors were slaughtered in great numbers by our ancestors. They were treated very badly, driven into forests where many of them still live. So they are the original inhabitants. Otherwise, rest of us in a sense are foreigners in India. It's a country of immigrants. Why did people come into India instead of going out of India? Only on 2 occasions people left India. One was in the 19th century when the British sent the plantation labor to Fiji and Mauritius and British Guyana and so on. Those were the poor peasants living in Bihar or eastern UP. They were sent as into the sugarcane plantations or tobacco plantation. The other wave was the recent diaspora of the highly educated Indian professionals, the IIT engineers and doctors and so on, who came over the last 40 years or so. Otherwise, nobody left India. Everybody kept coming into India. Why? Because people migrate from uncomfortable areas to comfortable areas. It is natural. Everybody wants comfort. Now, earlier there were no industrial societies. There were agricultural societies. What do you require for agriculture? You require level land. You require fertile soil. You require plenty of water for irrigation. All this was in abundance in the Indian subcontinent. If you go from Rawalpindi to Bangladesh to deep South Kanyakumari, all level land, fertile soil. It was paradise for agriculture. Why should anybody migrate from India to, say, Afghanistan, which is covered with snow for 4 or 5 months in a year, rocky, mountainous, harsh terrain, uncomfortable? Everybody wants comfort. So people for thousands of years kept rolling into India. This was paradise for agriculture. And because it's a country of immigrants, there's so much diversity in India. Because whichever group of immigrants came over thousands of years, they brought their own language, their religion, their culture, their way of life. That is why there are so many religions in India, so many castes, so many languages, so many ethnic groups. Somebody is tall, somebody is short, somebody is fair, somebody is dark. If you compare India with, say, China, see, China and India have about the same population. That is a little over 1.3 billion each. But there's broad homogeneity in China. Not absolute homogeneity, but broad homogeneity. For example, all Chinese have a common written script called Mandarin. Of course, Mandarin is also a spoken language, but there are other spoken languages like Cantonese in southern China and all. But the written script is the same. And 95% Chinese belong to one ethnic group called the Hans, H-A-N. There's broad homogeneity in China. They look alike. Whereas in India, there's tremendous diversity. So the only way to keep the country together and take it on the path of progress is the path shown by Emperor Akbar, called Sulh-e-Kul, that is giving equal respect to everybody. Otherwise, our country just cannot survive. What is there common between you and that boy from Nagaland? You are Hindus or Muslims, he is a Christian. You have got Caucasian features, he has got Mongoloid features. You are, his language is different, his eating habits are different, his dress. So unless you give him equal respect, why should he remain inside India?